Center one.
It is. Here,
It started.
hello, everybody.
Happy Thursday.
Thursday, could be Friday for some. Any
It's Friday.
Australia, New Zealand? Where's everybody coming in from? Tell us in the
Let
chat.
us know in the chat.
Yeah.
Second day of New Agent Bootcamp, though. That is so crazy.
These always go
Right,
quick.
it's flooding in a couple of Oklahoma.
Ooh, Bonnie, where do you have to shout out? You have to shout out a certain city.
I have to shout out to Cleveland because I was just there for a conference. And then Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm not sure if you are watching, but you know who you are. But Ontario, I'm looking at everything.
Iowa.
Michigan.
Oh, I wonder, how was the weather yesterday? If you guys joined us yesterday, what was it? Was it in
Toronto?
Well, Toronto, yeah. Our second speaker, Kim, was having some issues, and apparently there was like tornado warnings, power going out, like craziness.
Like that. So we are here in Nebraska, and that sounds like an average week for us.
I know.
Tornado Alley.
Like, just another day. Like, here we go.
Another day.
Yeah. Oh, and I love how someone said Budapest. Just kidding. There was
Just kidding.
somewhere else. That's all right. Good though.
Amazing. We're coming in from all over. I saw some of you said you were tuning in yesterday, which those sessions yesterday, I was telling Stephanie, were so good. You know, looking at the roadmap of what you need to figure out. I'm a numbers person, so seeing it put into a travel advisor state, great.
It was so good. Yes, it was so good. And on that, here, let me share the screen here really quick, because if any of you did miss yesterday's sessions, they are all on here. So if you go back to, I'll put this link in the chat too, once we get going here. But if you did miss any of yesterday's sessions, you can watch the recordings on here. So the one that Bonnie was telling about was with Rita Perez, and it was really cool. It was like breaking it down, like, what are your goals? How do you get there? Really cool stuff. And then also we had Kim with the do's and don'ts with working with suppliers and partners, which is just always really helpful. Good tips, reminders of, building your relationships within the industry, not just your clients, but in the industry, which is cool. And then the last one I saw someone, Alicia said, third session was excellent. Yes. So Sandy from GTN joined us, and it was all about closing the deal. Here, actually, I have this slide that will, oh, wait, there we go. Oh, so, okay. I forgot what my day 2, we're getting used to slides here. By the next session, we'll have these slides down. But these are the sessions that were yesterday. And yesterday's sessions were all industry education. So again, if this is your first time joining us for New Agent Bootcamp, which this is our 3rd year doing it, which is crazy, so awesome. And this day 1, which was yesterday, was all industry education. And now day 2 is all about Travefy, because what we wanted to do is our mission is to help power the success of travel professionals. So we do that by not only providing a software platform for you to use to grow your business, but also that education outside of Travefy that you also need to have. So it's really cool just tying both things together. And, we get to work with so many cool people in the industry. So we're like, let's bring you on and put you in front of the audience who knows Travefy, because we want to help everybody grow and build this amazing community. So really cool stuff. And the great thing is today's session, we are super excited about, because again, it's all about Travefy. We can do this. We talk about this every day. So we're like, this is awesome. Like, we love this. So today you're, of course, here right now for the standing, not hour, but standing out and impressing clients with itineraries and proposals, which Bonnie will lead here in just a couple minutes. And then after that, we're going to take an hour off, just an hour break, and then come back, because then I'm going to walk through how to use Travefy CRM tools. So we're going to talk about forms and organizing your client contact information, invoicing, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be really good. And then our last session of the day will be again with Bonnie, because Bonnie is the best when it comes to website stuff. So we're bringing in the big guns here. Bonnie's going to show you how you can use our website builder to, really boost your online presence and use that website builder. So lots to come. But just as a reminder, all of these are being recorded. So as you see yesterday's sessions, they're all recorded. They all are actually available shortly after each of these air. So again, you'll just want to go on that website that you registered on and register for each session. So if you aren't registered for the sessions later today, make sure you do that. But then it just takes Zoom like a half an hour, maybe not even that long, just to get it up there, and then you can watch the recording. And then early next week, we'll make sure to get all of these recordings on our YouTube channel, which we always do that. So we always put everything on our YouTube channel. So you'll find them there very soon, which is great. Okay, whoops. Now, I don't want to take your slides away, but really quick, actually, I realized we didn't do this yesterday, but just to quickly introduce ourselves, I am Stephanie Grice, so Senior Education Manager here at Travefy. And then we also have Bonnie from the education team, and I'll let you introduce yourself, but also completely take it away. The floor is yours, Bonnie.
Perfect. Yes, thank you for having me. I'm super excited. My name is Bonnie. For those of you I have not met, I am an education coordinator here. I work under Stephanie and I love education. So I'm excited that you all took some time out today, whether you're here live or watching the recording. It's so important to continue your education and learning. But I'm going to go ahead, I'll share my screen. And we're going to just jump right on into things, into Travefy, really the tool that we all love. And if you haven't been into Travefy, haven't started a free trial yet, do know you can start a free trial at travefy.com. But I want to show you a lot of different tools that are going to help you as you get started as an advisor, or if you're already an advisor and you've been doing this for a year, 2 years, who knows how many years. I would love to show you around. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is your branding. And we're going to talk about a lot of marketing in our third session, of course, but we want to set up our profile before anything. And some of you, when you see a pop-up, at least this is my reaction. My initial reaction is just to close out of any pop-up. Don't close out of this one. This is where you're going to want to enter your information in as much as you can. And so we're going to start off with our name. We're going to say our name is Jane Smith today. Our email's already entered in here, but if you have a different one that you would like to present to your clients, maybe a more professional one, you can always throw that in that second box below. Title. Now, I saw a lot of comments yesterday about what should I put my title as? Travel advisor, luxury travel advisor. You can put whatever you would like in here. I personally see travel professional a lot, travel advisor, travel consultant. So it's up to you. Phone number is a good one to have in there. Again, this is information your clients are going to see on your trip, so we want to put as much as we can. Website, we will get to that soon enough. But if you don't have a website, again, tune in for session 3 because we have that tool available for you. It's really easy to do. Company name, though, let's go ahead. We'll call this Travefy Agency. And then if you have a logo, this is where we're going to want to throw that in. If you don't have a logo, there's a lot of easy places to either build one yourself, or you can always get in contact with someone. Personally, I'm a big user of Canva, and so there's a lot of great templates there, of course, for you to customize further. But I'm going to grab one real quick. Now, you're going to see this quite a bit throughout Travefy. This is how we add in our media. So you can always use our database, website, copy paste method. Of course, with our logo, we probably have that file saved already on our device. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this one. It's a play off of my name. I always go with Bonnie Voyage Travels. I'm going to save that. And the next thing is your profile photo. Now, I know some of you, maybe you haven't had a headshot in a while, but I do love to see a photo in here because it helps personalize you. So grab one from a vacation, maybe take a selfie real quick. If anything, you could always put your logo in your profile image area if you don't have one quite yet. But I'm just going to grab a headshot. We'll click save. And again, when I zoom in, this is what your travelers are going to see. You can always come back here later and switch it up and update it when you need to. But let's click save. That was an easy one to get done. As you can see, here is my photo and name updated. Now we are really going to jump on into Travefy building with the itinerary with the proposal. And so as you can see here, this is our homepage of Travefy. This is where all of our trips are going to live. On the left-hand side, you're going to see all of these different filters to help stay organized, which what we learned yesterday is super, super important. We do not want a messy desk. We also don't want a messy dashboard in our account. And so what I'm going to do, we're going to build a trip together. I'm selecting that new trip button up at the top left, and you're going to get two different options. We have proposal and itinerary, and we'll walk through the differences. But at a high level overview, proposals are going to be for your quotes when your client's still deciding what options they might want to go with. And then once your proposal is approved by your client, that is when it becomes an itinerary. They're going to have a couple of different options for viewing then, but they're built out pretty much the same way, and you'll see that here soon. But let's go ahead. Let's start with the first one, which is a proposal. And what we come to is what we call in Travefy the trip builder. This is where we're building in our content. We're building in the days. If you tuned into the second episode yesterday when we talked about suppliers, we are going to rely heavily on a lot of our supplier integrations to make sure this is a really quick and easy process, but you still look professional to your clients and your clients can interact with it. So where I always like to start out is our settings, which is up at the top left. This is where we can put in our title, start date, price, and description. Now, I always like to start here because it lays a good foundation for us. We can always, again, come back in here if we would like to change things up. But I'm going to call this one Western Caribbean with Mexico Cruise. Sometimes I'll see advisors put in the last names of the families that are going on this trip. So again, however you want to put that together, it's a great way to personalize it. Start date, now this is a proposal, but because it's a cruise, we kind of have a good idea of when this is going to go out. If you don't have a start date in mind yet, you can always keep this blank. It's not necessary. But for me, I know my date, so I'm actually going to put in January 17th, 2025. Now, price, again, this is something I see advisors like to put in. Some advisors don't like to put in. Price, a good range is always nice. So maybe saying starting at $10,000 or putting $10,000 to $15,000 is a good one. But again, if you rather not discuss price via the proposal, you can always say, set up a consultation call and we'll walk through everything. I see, again, both methods being done. So whichever works best for you and your business. But for right now, I'm going to say starting at, we'll do $7,000 per person. You could also do total if you would like. And then this is the one that I say put at least one thing in here. This is going to be our description. It appears at the top of our trips. So if you want to put any important information like your emergency contact number, maybe a custom message saying, thanks so much for supporting my small business, put it in here because again, it appears at the top. So for me, I'm going to copy and paste some text on in, just so you can hopefully get some good ideas of what you might want to put in your descriptions. You can always format this differently. Click the three dots and you'll see even more options. Some folks like to put in a table if you want to list out the different items and what their cost is. But this is really where I want to stop in the settings at least. You can scroll down, you can see a lot more, but let's keep it easy for right now. And I'm going to click Save Changes. And again, we were just in our settings, which were up at the top left. The next thing I like to do is change this cover photo. So I'm going to click into change cover photo, of course. And here again is that pop-up window where we kind of saw it when we uploaded our logo. We have a few different ways of putting media in here. And the one that I like to rely on a lot of times to save time is that database. These are royalty-free images for those of you who are doing Disney. You can type in Disney and you can make sure you can use those photos, of course. But because this is a cruise, let's type in ocean. We'll click search and you can see all of the different photos that come in. Again, keep it general, but for the most part, you should be able to find a photo that you like. I'm going to go with this one right here. You can always click edit if you want to expand it, change it up. But for right now, I'll save my changes. Now you might be wondering, it looks really tiny. I can barely see the photo in itself. Because we are building the trip, this is going to look a lot different for when your clients actually view it. So if you see up here at the top right, there's a preview button. When I select preview, Here's a little bit of what your client's going to see. Again, here's that profile information we just put together. But they also see that price up at the top, approved proposal, a little chat icon if they want to chat back and forth with you on the trip. Here's that description. But then again, here's that cover photo where we can actually see that image. But again, I always like to preview it once in a while just to make sure any changes I make look good for the client. So again, we just went through settings, we changed our cover photo up. It's time to add some content in, which is really the best part about building your trip. So we're on January 17th, which is a Friday. If we click into that, you can always customize your day titles. So we could always call this travel day, and you should be able to see that on the side there. But when we are building a trip, the thinking behind building in Travefy is once you're on the date that you want to add some content to, just select that new event button, and you're going to get a whole drop-down list of the different categories of events that you can build into this day. So for instance, we have some transportation, we have lodging, flights, etc. We're going to try and add as much as we can in here today. So I'm going to start off with our flights. When I select flight, I can go ahead and just put in the airline and flight number. It's that easy. You don't need to have these things booked quite yet. You just need, again, your date, your airline, and flight number. So, and this goes for those of you also who don't want to mess with flights, you don't want to book flights for your clients. As long as they give you these pieces of information, you can add it in. And the best part to adding flights into your itinerary, into your proposal, is that we'll track flight updates. So let's go ahead. I'm going to add in, oh gosh, this is quite the airline to use, but Delta. So we'll do Delta right now. We'll do 11:25 before I get info. It's going to give us a few options. We are going from Omaha to Atlanta. But now, if you need a second leg of the flight, maybe this is a connecting flight, you can continue adding in your flight numbers. Same goes for if maybe they're hopping onto a different airline. You can just click the X, remove the airline, add in the new information. But there we go. Things are looking good. And once I've confirmed those details are correct, I'm going to add it to our itinerary. And so now what comes over are those departure times as well as the arrival times. We already put in the airport attachments, so this is something your clients can click into. They have location information, they have an interactive map, and you can also type in some description messages. So if you've been to the Omaha airport, you can say, hey, hit up the Scooter's Coffee Shop before you get to your terminal. Whatever you might want to do, these are really nice, again, because it gives that interactive point for your clients to start digging in. But now, the other thing that we're going to do, besides seeing, we have the flight in here, and we'll talk more about updates once this is actually approved. Right now, because it's a proposal, we aren't checking for flight updates. So keep that in mind. We are not checking flight updates when it's in a proposal because, you might send a few proposals to your clients. Your clients, quite honestly, probably aren't concerned about getting updates for every flight that you might put onto one of their quotes. That can be a little overwhelming. Once this is approved, though, that's when we'll do those real-time flight updates and checks. And again, we'll get more into that once this is an itinerary. But we added in our flights. Let's continue our way along. I am going to add in now a hotel. So we're flying to Fort Lauderdale from Omaha. Let's put in a place that we can actually spend the night. So I'm selecting lodging. And for a lot of these events, we're going to prompt you for the information that you need. So for instance, it's saying enter in the property name. Great, I know the property name. We're going to do the Hilton Fort Lauderdale Marina. And I'm going to zoom in so you guys can hopefully see this a bit better. But we have 3 icons up at the top here. You might only have one selected, so make sure you have all 3 that are green. Web is going to pull in Google search results. Library, and we're going to, again, get to this here soon enough. When you save anything to your library, that is where it's going to pull from. So if you want to save this hotel to your library because we sell this hotel a lot or we like this property a lot, it's going to show us that first result. Otherwise, if you are brand new starting out, try and go for the one that has our Travefy airplane right next to it. That's going to pull over more written content, photos usually, and just details in general. So I'm going to select that first option at the top. It matches the title. We can put a checkout date. I'm going to leave it as the next day. If you want to check in, check out time to populate as well, you can always type that in. But for me, this looks good, so we're adding it right into our itinerary. Now, if I scroll down, it's been added. We have location information, facility information. We have 5 photos for this one. And again, that interactive piece, which is that place attachment your clients can click into. They actually have 45 more photos that they can go ahead and look through. We can also see, if I click back into here, that map, location information, and if I scroll down, we have amenity information. So a lot of great hotel content. Now, I do want to take the moment, if you're a part of Virtuoso or Travel Leaders Internova Select, we do have a specific hotel database for you to hook up to. So if you have any questions on how to do that, use that chat feature in here, and our team can help make sure you get that turned on. But just to take a look again, we have that hotel added in. We have that checkout hotel event. What is next? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in a cruise. Cruises are really popular, especially if you're a new agent, to get pulled in here. And so what we're going to do is select that new event button. We just did lodging, we just did flight. We are going to select the cruise option. And what I love about this too is because we're in a proposal, we really only need those 3 things: that date, cruise line, and cruise ship. So if I've done my research, I've looked at, if I'm part of a host agency, I've looked at my partners. I can see that maybe Princess is one of our partners. And we just decide, you know what cruise ship is going out? Sun Princess is one of their newer ships, so I'm going to select that. And once I put that information in, it's going to provide for me the itineraries that are happening that date. So we have a 7-day Western Caribbean with Mexico, 7 days, sounds gorgeous. That all looks good, so I'm going to select Get Itinerary. Now from here, we're going to give you a summary of what is happening on this. So just make sure your ports line up with the dates that we have on here. If this looks correct to you, go ahead, add it on in. And what happens is we get the entire itinerary populated in here for us that we don't have to copy and paste. We also get that ship information, as you can see on this first day, along with the deck plans that are hyperlinked. So because this is a proposal, it's really nice to say, you know what, I have cabins booked on deck 8 and 9. Take a look. Clients can easily click into either deck plan, and they'll be able to see, oh, this is where that cabin is. You know, maybe deck 9 would be a better fit for me. Very nice to not have to hyperlink 21 decks. But you can see we have some photos. We have a little place attachment, again, with some description of its own. If I click into a few of these, we'll see the arrival departure times of different ports, and so on and so forth. But now, instead of you having to waste your time copying and pasting all of this general information, you can start to add in your own little touches. You can start adding in maybe some different ways that you can upsell or different packages. You can focus again on your sales that you're doing there. But now we've added in a whole cruise that took less than a minute. And what I like to do now is I'm going to show you Marketplace really quick. It's our newest feature that we released at Travefy. And it's so helpful, especially if you're brand new to the industry, just brand new to Travefy in general. Great for those of you who have been using Travefy for a while, just to see what other advisors are putting together. So I just exited back onto our homepage, and Marketplace is going to be a tab at the very top. Now, this is really a content database shared amongst everyone who uses Travefy. So if you saw something in your library, maybe you're an expert in this certain location that's not really well known, but you want to share it out with your community, with other advisors. You can always share your content to Marketplace. Again, you have to decide you want to share these items. So when you're looking through all of this, just know that they decided, you know what, I really want to help my community. Here is something that I'm proud of that I want to make sure anyone else can use for their own travelers. And that's what's so special about our community. But you can see here, you can download cruise itineraries, info, city guides. I highly recommend spending a little bit of time in here. If you're someone who loves designing itineraries, but maybe not so much the administrative part that Stephanie's going to go over in her session, check out the administrative tab. We have task workflows, forms, you name it. But for me, I have something specific in mind that I want to save. So I'm going to type in princess and click search. First, you can see all the different things that come up for Princess. If you click filters, you can narrow it down that much more. But I'm going to look for one that I created in another account called Princess Cruise Cabins. And we're going to select that. With anything you save from Marketplace, you can always preview. So if you want to click the drop down arrow, kind of see what's all involved in it, you can. But I'm going to copy this right to this library. And what happens now is when I click out of here and go to our library, again, this is our custom database. You can pull things from Marketplace, save things from your trips, you name it. This is where it's going to live. You can also create items directly into your library. But here's where all the magic happens. We're going back to our little trip here. We just saved that item from Marketplace. Here's our library to show. And you know what? Maybe I'm not selling every cabin under the sun. There's a lot of cabins with these new ships. I only have 2 that I'm really interested in selling to my clients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my information and documents. I'm going to retitle this section. Again, I just click on it. I'm going to call this our cabin options and click done. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click view on here. And it's going to just break it down even more. I'm not looking to add in every cabin for every princess ship ever made. And I believe it's under cabins 4, so I'm going to click view again. I have a little guide information item. So yep, this is for the correct ship. I'm going to hit that back button. And what I'm going to do, let's add in, you know what? I don't have one in mind. Cove balcony, we'll click that little plus icon, or you can always drag and drop it into whatever day or section that you want. And the other one I'm going to do is maybe the mini suite. We'll just drag and drop it on over again. So I'm exiting out of here. Here are those little cabin options. Looks good to me. Again, it has its own little section up there at the top. And now we've made a couple of different changes. So now we're going to preview this. So again, if you remember from kind of the beginning, we're hitting preview at the top. This is what our clients are going to see. Here is what it looks like on the side. They can click into the plus button and get a high-level overview of everything. If they want to go to a specific section, they can click on it, and it scrolls us all the way down to that specific area. Photos are going to look a lot nicer as well. It's going to expand and come in clearly. We have those place attachments. And again, if they wanted to, they could look at all 45 more photos, but the other thing to mention is that all of your links are going to be in here. So if you have affiliate links that you want to throw in here because you're upselling maybe some different shore experiences, you can do that. I'm going to scroll up so you can see also what these but these cabin options look like. First of all, I really want to go on the Sun Princess because these cabins look amazing, but also for your client, they can get a better idea of what this is going to look like. And again, Marketplace is super excellent if you want to start building content really quickly into your account. But now it's looking good. We're going to do a little bit more hopping around. So stick with me here. We just put together a whole itinerary. What I am going to do now is go through the approve process with you. Now, this approve proposal button is specific to proposals. It's not going to show up on itineraries, of course. And this is actually hooked up to a form that you can customize. So when I click approve proposal, your clients are going to have to verify their information because they're going to put an electronic signature down. But I am going to hop out again. We're hopping around, so stick with me, everyone. And I'm going to my name at the top right. This is where you can go back, you can edit your profile, you can do your invoices, set that up for planning fees if that is what you do for your agency. But I'm going to actually go to our account settings. And from here, I'm going right to our settings at the bottom. Again, we clicked our name, we went to our account settings, settings at the bottom. This is where our proposal agreement form can live. And what I'm going to do is I'm clicking this drop-down arrow. One, if you are a user currently and you maybe have a form that you would want to connect to your approved proposal button, go ahead, you can search that proposal form, or we can create a new form together. And I'm taking a little bit from Stephanie's session that she's going to do. I'm not going to go as in-depth as she will. So this is just going to, make you want to go and register for that one if you haven't already. But what I'm going to do, this is our form. And again, we'll go way more in depth in about an hour from now. But I'm going to add in one question. We have a couple of different options. I'm selecting that question. And I'm going to ask them to upload maybe their driver's license. Maybe I need that in order to start booking things. So, or you can always do a passport. So I will say, upload your driver's license. Over to the right is going to be the answer field we're looking for. And I'm going to do contact document upload because I want this client to upload their driver's license photo, either from their library or just take a quick picture, however they're doing it. And I'm going to click that check mark. You can, of course, continue adding questions in. If you have your own terms and conditions, this is where you would want to put them, or you can just continue using what we have in here. But now this is our proposal agreement form. So I'm selecting done. And what I'm going to do quick is I'm going back to our account settings. So for those of you who need to see this again, click your name top right, account, settings, and from here, you can select your form. So I'm going to just make sure it's in there, which it's popping up. So we're going back to our trips. What we just did was a lot. So again, tune into our second session if you want to get really familiar with how to set up a form to begin with. But we're going back to our proposal here. And by no means is this necessary. I just want to make sure when my client approves this, I also get the additional information I need without having to email them again or try and do a game of tag. So let's preview this. We're clicking approve proposal. I'm the client now. I'm going to start typing this in. We'll put my address in. We'll click continue. I'm going to go to my email inbox and wait for that verification code. And I'm going to copy it. And I'm just going to paste it in here. And we'll verify the code. So now what happens is we get to see, okay, here is everything that's included. Yep. Full name, it's going to be Bonnie. Email address, yep, that's correct. Upload your driver's license. I'm not going to do that, so I left that as optional. But again, add in as many questions as you would need from your client at this point in your workflow. We'll hit continue. Here's the terms and conditions. I need to do my electronic signature, so this just helps better protect you during this process. And let's type that in, submit responses. With any form, you're going to get a notification via email. Here's what your client sees. Of course, they're going to also get a PDF of what they approved of. So we take care of that fun paperwork. But when I click done now, we can see that it's approved. Again, this is the client view. They'll see it's approved. If I refresh my page, this has now actually become an itinerary. And maybe you saw what happened, but if you didn't, we now have an app in PDF option because it is that itinerary. And the reason why we don't have these two options when it's a proposal is I'm not sure if any of the attendees in here right now, if you've ever been ghosted by a client. If you have, apologies on that, that stinks. But this way, your client who ghosted you doesn't have multiple ways of saving your hard work and your research so that they can book things themselves or have someone else book it. So once they have their name written down saying, yep, I'm booking this, I'm ready to go, that's when we give them those options. So let's click out of here. Again, this has become an itinerary. And if we go back to our trips page and I refresh all of this, here's what it's looking like. We have a little check mark, which if you hover your mouse over means it's approved. And if I click into here, we can see when that was approved. We can always view the details directly from this view. I also love that we have trip views. Really nice if you are working with someone you haven't worked with before, especially when you're in that proposal stage. You might wonder, I wonder if they're even looking at it. You can come here, and I know it says you viewed, which is me, but when you send it to your client via email or anything like that, we can view when they actually were looking at it. So a helpful little tool right there for your sales. But I'm going to click edit now. And look at that. It looks the exact same because, again, itineraries and proposals, they're built the exact same way versus when the client is actually previewing it. It's really that is the biggest difference. The other little difference you might notice is now that it's an itinerary, we have the flight updates going. So we can see when that next update check is. So we will go to the airline, we'll see if there's any new updates, usually periodically once a week. up until that flight's within 24 hours of departing. That's when we start doing real-time updates, real-time notifications, if there are gate changes, if there's terminal changes, departure delay, cancellation. We will update that automatically in here and notify both you and your clients. So that is my little tip on making sure you have flights in here, even if you do or don't book them. Now, we're going to add just a few more things in. And the thing is, maybe my client filled that out. I had a question in here that said, and this is all hypothetical, maybe I had a question in there that said, hey, which cabin would you like to go with? Great, you want to go with the mini suite. I love that for you. So instead of keeping the cabin options section in here, I want to make sure they have their cabin listed in the full itinerary. So if you are using Travefy, you're going to realize very quickly we love drag and drop. If you need to switch days around, drag and drop it into the order you need it. If you need to rearrange your day, drag and drop it into the order that you need. For instance, I'm going to take this mini suite and I'm going to put it on January 18th, which is when they start sailing. And then I'm just going to remove this section. So I'm going to delete that section. Here is what our January 18th is going to look like. We have the mini suite in there. And we're going to add in just one more thing. I'm going to click the three dots. So if you need to add new days, you can click that blue button. If we need to add in info sections, which just mean it's not associated with a specific date, I can select new info section. And let's go ahead. I'm going to retitle this. I'm going to call this destination information. And we'll click done. And now one of the fun things we always talk about are city guides. If you've done a demo, a training with us, we always want to make sure you know about city guides. It's pre-made destination content. And it's created by, local tourism boards, destination experts. So if we select city guides over at the right, we can type in the destination name. For instance, maybe for Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to type in Fort Lauderdale. We have two different guides in here just to provide even that much more content. Both guides are going to have a little bit of a different take on what content they decide to pull in. Now, Trip Report, if you're doing families a lot, Trip Report typically will have some children activities available for you to see. So I'm going to click into there. And of course, Fort Lauderdale saying, nope, we aren't going to do that one for you. I'll show you what arrival guides looks like. And again, just a different take on what content they decide to bring over. But for me, January 17th, it's a travel day. They're flying in. They're probably going to be hungry. They aren't going to really know where to go. I might throw in a little dining section. So I'm going to drag and drop it over. Again, we love drag and drop. I'm going to put it at the very bottom. And it's just going to provide some different dining options that are in that area, which they can click into, interact with. They can see, here's where it's at on the map. That's not that far away from the hotel. Here's that description. Here's all the places that I can get a hold of them. But when I click out of there, here's what everything is looking like. Maybe though, I want to put in the destination information, tourist information. Again, drag and drop it. And here is what all that looks like. Now, I'm going to take, because we're doing actually pretty good on time, I'm going to drag and drop this information section to the bottom. So drag and drop, just pull it on down to where you need it, up or down. And now it's at the bottom and it's not going to be the first thing that they see. So again, when we preview it, here is what everything is looking like. But now this kind of leads into our very last couple of things. One, how do we send it? How can the clients view it? Top right, we have that send option. You have two different ways of doing this. One, you can get the trip link. If you want to just copy this web link, this is what that web link goes to. Really great if you want to put this into a Facebook post, a social media post saying, hey, here's a trip that I've created. I would love to get some of you booked on this. Really great for marketing purposes. Copy the mobile app link. This is really great for those clients who are saying, you know what, I would love to see this on the app. Can you just give me a quick link to go and do this? Copy the app link, message that to them directly. But again, when the client's viewing it, they always have that app option up at the top right. Now you might see PDF. PDF is also available to you. You can actually be really specific what's included in your PDF. So you can check things, you can uncheck things, up to you on really how you want to provide the information to that client. But the more options there are, the more your client feels serviced too, of course. But very last thing is about the app. You hear us talk about the app. You might have heard some of our speakers talk about the app yesterday. So just really quick, we're going to go to tripplans.co. And this is actually a page that people will send to their clients because we don't have any of Travefy's marketing on here. It's really a page dedicated to your travelers in learning how to use the app, how to make sure they can get a hold of you, of course. Here's a little sneak peek of what that looks like. But to go through the top reasons why you would want to encourage your client to use the app. One, it's interactive, it's fun, it's on their phone. Everyone has a phone these days. So if your client wants to have it on there, really accessible, app is the best reason why. Real-time updates. If you experienced any of the issues that happened this past weekend, past Friday with the airlines, really important that you're getting those notifications as quickly as you can. So not only would I recommend your client to have the airlines app downloaded, but also have this on just so they can be as aware as possible. Some users have told us, I get gate notification changes from trip plans way before the airline. And that's because our app goes to a lot of different sources versus just one source, which is that. Documents, if you include your vouchers, PDFs, they can access those really easily, especially if they're in offline mode. That means that maybe I don't know what service I'm going to have. I don't know what the Wi-Fi connection is going to look like when I'm traveling. If they have offline mode toggled on, which is going to be up at the top, they can still access their documents and still access maybe that contact information that they wouldn't be able to access otherwise. Chat. They can chat back and forth with you. This relies on Wi-Fi internet connection though. But the nice thing is they don't have to worry about running up their bill, especially if they're traveling internationally. But we have a lot of different ways for you and your travelers to see how this works. Trip plans is really easy. We have a total of 5 whole steps for them to follow. Just know it's really a matter of them viewing their trip. So if we go back here, we click preview. If they're on their phone, they click that app option and they already have the app downloaded. That is what syncs it. So make sure they have the app downloaded, make sure they have a way to view their itinerary, and that's really all they need for this. But if you have any questions, of course, we're always happy to help with that. But now I think that is just about everything that I had for you guys. I know we went through the very beginning all the way at the branding and doing a proposal to the itinerary to the mobile app. So I'm sure there are questions. Stephanie, what is it looking like over
Got
there?
so many, so many. And I
Woo!
apologize, everyone. I'm actually think I'm keeping up with most, but now this is when I might start not keeping up. So just a reminder that if we don't get your question answered, chat us. In fact, that is actually the question that I was going to ask here is somebody had asked if I have a question, where can I contact support team at?
Oh my gosh, I love that question. I was actually on the customer success team before Stephanie got me. And so always use this chat button. It's always available in your account. You can send us a quick message, of course. We also have a lot of different articles. Check it out. We are always happy to help. But I also just want to say you'll see a learn or a help button up in your account as well. So if you're more of a self-learner, you're like, you know what, I have an hour to dedicate to some education. What can I do to make sure I know the software? Getting started guide is really great. There's 4 to 5 minute videos on each feature of Travefy. So if you are thinking, you know what, I just want to learn about the proposal form, or I just want to learn about the credit card authorization form, we have a 4 to 5 minute video for you on that. But we also have demo availability. We have trainings, all which are included. They are free. We aren't ever going to charge more for you to further your education. So just know that. But great question.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna go like rapid fire here.
Woo,
So
let's do
the
it.
first one, okay, this is from Tammy. What is the difference of proposal versus itinerary?
Yes, great question, Tammy. So proposals, really the biggest one is one, proposals will have the approved proposal option, which again, you can connect to a form that you can really add your own specific questions to. So an itinerary instead will have an app and PDF option. just more ways for your clients to view their trip. Versus if it's in the quote stage, I'm not sure if the client's even going to book with me. I don't want to give them more options to view my work and possibly take it with them. So,
Mm-hmm.
biggest
And
one there.
yeah, and a question to go off of that, because a couple people asked this is, do you always have to start with a proposal, or can you start with an itinerary and not do the proposal?
Yeah, I've seen it both ways. If it makes more sense for your workflow and for your clients to just go into an itinerary, maybe let's go with a situation here to make this more sense. Maybe I'm talking to my mom. My mom has been saying, I want to go to Arizona where it's nice and warm. You have all my information. We've already discussed this over the phone, or we've already talked about this in person. Just give me what I need. Go ahead, use that itinerary. Just know that there is not a way for them to approve it and put their name down. The biggest reason why I say put a proposal first is if you need their signature, showing that they book things so they can't go back on that. But yeah, by all means, use the itinerary instead.
Perfect. And oh, this is a comment that I forgot to share. Amy said, so when you were talking about the airline update stuff, Amy, shout out Amy. I've received rave reviews on the airline update information. My client loves the app for the airline. So
Yeah.
super cool. But on the app, I do have a question for you though. So Eileen asked, if client has uploaded the app and we make a change to the itinerary, will the client see the updated version next time they go in the app?
I love that question. And so this is going for both the app as well as if you've already emailed your client the link. We do live updates and that link will live update. So if you maybe add in another cabin option to this cruise because their friend is coming along, that updates automatically. They don't have to get resent that invite. They don't have to re-sign into their mobile app. They just have to refresh it. So you can make as many changes as you need to, and it's not going to alert them about every little thing. For me, that would be a nightmare because I'm going to make a lot of changes. So I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah. So helpful. Okay, kind of on the same topic here. James asks, how are we notified that the client has started a chat in the app?
Yeah. So, couple of things. One, if you don't have oh my gosh, I didn't even say this. So, I'm glad you brought this up, James. Make sure if you want the app, you are downloading Travefy Pro. Travefy Pro is the app for you in the App Store. Again, Travefy Pro. That is going to give you just more analytics versus the Trip Plans app. You can, of course, download the Trip Plans app if you want to see what the client is going through. Travefy Pro for you, though. So if you have Travefy Pro downloaded, you are going to get chat notifications on your phone if you have those push notifications enabled. Most do, but it's going to pop up like a little text message notification. Otherwise, if you don't have the app downloaded, or maybe you aren't at your phone and you don't see it, you're going to get sent an email. So within a certain amount of time, even if you have that app downloaded and you aren't at your phone, maybe you're doing a full-time job, which kudos to you if this is a part-time gig for you, that's a lot, but you'll get an email if we notice you haven't seen it in a while. So email or chat notification.
Perfect. And I also just put a link in is
Perfect.
to the Travefy Pro app and Trip Plans. Highly recommend Travefy Pro app. Get that right after this if you don't
Yes.
already. It's a good one to have. Okay, so this next question is from Tammy is, could the itinerary be used for a group trip for multiple people to have an option to sign up? Or like, how does that work with group trips?
Yes. So I think, when did we talk? I think I
I
actually talked
know
about this in Cleveland. My whole week is messed
it's a
up.
blur.
But if you are doing group trips, yes, you can use or do groups for your itineraries. You can even do it for your proposal if you wanted to. I'm going to make a copy of this trip. First of all, this is one method that people will do is that they'll make a template like trip and they'll just create copies for every person or couple that are going on that trip. And you can rename it. That means that when they look at it and they use that chat, they aren't seeing the chats of others. If it's a family, though, maybe with or a group of friends, and they all want to be on the same trip so they can use that group chat messaging, what you can do, I'm going to click edit into this copy, is you can actually use what we call tagging. So super helpful if maybe everyone has different flights that they're going on. You don't want everyone to see everybody else's flights because that just honestly is going to be really confusing. But what you can do, and I know I'm talking a lot. Let me just actually show you what I mean. I'm going to go into the 18th. Let's say that this is going to be a friend trip. Someone's going with the mini suite. I'm going to click into one of these, and the other person's going with ocean view. Significantly different cabins. And I want to make sure each person knows which cabin they're going to. So I'm going to click the pencil icon for the ocean view. And what you'll do is, and I realize now I don't have anyone entered in as contacts because we made this account literally today. But what
Yeah.
you can do is you can select only specific people and you can type in the name of that person. So if Jane Doe is the only person who's going with Ocean View, you say, I want only specific people to see this, and I want Jane Doe to be the one who sees it. For the mini suite, you would do the same thing. Go down to your people section, select only specific people, and type in the name of the person you want only that person to see. But I know we have a really good article on tagging and a few different videos. I know we just actually did a groups webinar series, I think end of June. So check that one out if you're interested on how you can put together a group itinerary or a group proposal specifically.
And I put it in chat too. So that link is in there, which is great. Now, okay, this question, this might be the last one, but this is going to be a little bit of a sneak peek to the third session today on the website stuff. But I'm glad to, James asked, will the link I share on Facebook, so like the link for the trip, feature my branding or Travefy's? So right now it will have Travefy.com, but you can have complete control over that URL. So Bonnie, I'll let you share a little bit about that, but also know that we will talk more about that in the third session.
So one of the important things that one of our speakers brought up yesterday was making sure that you have a professional email. So I'm going to start really far back there, where instead of saying my business name at gmail.com, a lot of times, if you can, if it's in your budget, is to buy a domain. So for me, for instance, my domain is bonnie@travefy.com. Travefy is showing versus a Gmail or a Yahoo or whatever it could be. And so once you have a domain, one, reach out to your domain host to see about how you can do email masking. But two, if you own a domain right now, you can do domain masking in your account in Travefy for free. And so what that does is it's going to mask all of your links. So it masks your trip links, it's going to mask your form links, it's going to mask your website page links. And that means Travefy's name's not showing, it's going to be that domain name that you bought that shows instead. Now, I know we're actually doing a little bit okay on time, so I'm just going to type in Bonnie Voyage Travels, which is from my other account, which is Domain Mass. This is all made in the Travefy website page builder. And so this is a little sneak peek of really what that link would look like. But yeah, we want to show you off as much as possible. And we can always set up a free domain masking session with you. Again, use the chat. It takes maybe 10 minutes-ish for it to get set up. And if you're brand new, I know this is New Agent Bootcamp. You're wondering, what the heck is a domain? What are you even talking about?
I know, and there's like slugs, and there's all these things.
Yes,
all
there's
of the things.
so much terminology when it comes to certain things. So if you don't know what a domain is, I would say take a look at GoDaddy. GoDaddy is probably the most popular one amongst our users. It's pretty user-friendly. GoDaddy, Google Domains for a while. I think they're going over into Squarespace though, so I'm not sure what that's looking like right now. But there's a lot of great providers out there. See which one's going to be the best fit for you. A lot of times it comes down to price, but yeah, definitely a good next step, especially if you're starting out early. It's so important to get on top of your branding early on.
For sure, yeah. So okay, I have one final question. I'm able to sneak one more in. This is a good one. So this was someone asked, can you explain archive? Because this is really important, because I think a lot of times people think that if you archive a trip, that means that they can't see it anymore, which isn't true. That's kind of a different thing. So I'll let you explain like what that means.
Yeah, so archive is pretty much just for you as the advisor. So because I have a couple of different trips on here, maybe this one didn't work out for whatever reason, and I want to save it, but I don't want to completely get rid of it because I have important information on here. Maybe the person just said, hey, it's not a great time right now. I would love to pick this up maybe later on in the future. Okay, you know what? That sounds just fine with me. I would choose to archive that because, again, I want to maybe access this again later on. I don't want to have to recreate this whole trip for them, especially if they said, you know what, maybe I'll contact you in 3 months. I just don't want it to show on my main page because I've got a lot of things going on. So if that is you, you can always go to your archived section. So if I select archived, here is that cruise copy we just had. You can always choose to unarchive it, or if it just didn't work out, you can delete it like so. But I'm going to take just the last couple of minutes to talk about a workflow that I personally really encourage, especially with new advisors who you're working with clients you maybe have never really talked with or done business with before. I'm going to change this back to a proposal really quick. And I'm going to say, you know what? I sent this to a client. I saw that they were viewing it a lot. We'll pretend that my views are actually a client's views. And it's at 7 views, but they haven't really gotten back to me. They haven't discussed anything with me. I've tried giving them that call. I've tried emailing them. I've tried texting them. They just are ghosting me, quite honestly. And so if that is you, what I recommend doing are a few things. I recommend clicking into your settings icon right here. It's going to give you a little pop-up. And I say go to your visibility and make this hidden. So now what this does is when they try and preview this again, they're going to get this little block and they're going to have all your contact information as you can see, but they aren't going to be able to see your content. They aren't going to be able to try and book things themselves because they can't see it. So before you delete it, before you archive it, I always recommend making it hidden. Unless maybe it's a traveler that it's a repeat traveler of yours and you're like, you know what, it's fine. You can view this as much as you want. Again, make it hidden, make it visible. Hidden's just really nice for when those clients you've just never really worked with before.
I know. That's like one of those that feature is like almost one of the most important ones. I feel like when people discover it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, yes," because you need to have
Yeah.
control over all of that stuff. So that's the great thing that you can, which is
Exactly.
awesome.
Travelers just got kind of weird after COVID. Like even I've talked to users or advisors, I should say, who have been in the business for a while, and they're like, you know what? People are just doing it themselves, even after I do all of this research.
Yeah, so much
Uh, so yeah,
work.
protect your work. That is
Yeah,
so important these days.
I
And you
like that.
can, yeah,
Protect the work.
protect
So
your work.
important. Like, well, and on that, I can't believe like that was really fast and that was really great. Like that this hour went so fast. So
Woo.
so helpful. But I just want to say join us for the next session coming up because there were a lot of questions that I saw that were asking things that we are totally going to get to in the next one because the next one and Bonnie even started to kind of she dabbled in it a little bit with the forms, but we're going to talk about how to streamline your business with Travefy CRM tools. So that's including like your forms, how to create forms in Travefy, task lists, organize your client contact information, so much stuff. So again, I'm sorry I had to dangle a carrot for some of you and say, join us next session because it'll really help. I know it'll help seeing all of that in there. And then again, remember that we do have one more after that. We'll talk about the website and all of that good stuff. But also, finally, I know we did not get to all your questions. I'm sorry. I was trying. I was trying so hard, but we know that our team is still there. They're waiting for you right now. Actually, if you go to email them at professional@travefy.com, but also chat like Bonnie was showing you. Chat in that bottom left-hand corner of your account and just ask those questions there. But also keep in mind, we do offer like one-on-one trainings, demos. So if you're the type of person you're like, listen, I just want to tell you what I'm looking for, and then you show me, we can do that. We can do
Yes.
that for you. Yeah. So that's a great thing. So really cool that, like we have that ability to really go one-on-one with you if you need that. But otherwise, lots of great stuff covered, more to come, and we'll see you in about an hour. So we'll see you back here soon.
All
So
right.
thanks again,
See you
Bonnie.
soon. Get your coffee, get your water, your tea, whatever it might be, and see you here soon.
Woo! See ya.